They just flipped on the stimulus package once again. After some major changes, I have all the details and updates for you in this video. So let's get into this right. Yesterday, an interview Trump Machine was out and said that his vote on the stimulus package was solid, no? Well, shortly thereafter, as we talked about yesterday, they were coming out of the woodwork, many different Democrats, and roasting Trump Machine for this decision, and for what he was actually commenting on this package. Well, between then and now, just a little bit over 24 hours, a lot has changed. Here's what's going on. So as I mentioned yesterday, I said don't worry about it. They will still going to come together on this bill. They will eventually get it passed. This is just a process that we are topically go through. There are a lot of back and forth. Somebody says, I'm not voting for it. Meanwhile, other people come out and say we are got to make changes. This is just part of the negotiation process. Although this time it did get extended out a little bit longer than we are anticipating, but it's all pretty much within exactly what we are anticipating, right? This comes as no surprise. So let's quick talk through what some of these changes are and what Trump Machine is mentioning now. So a day later, a little over a day later, Trump Machine was once again out in the separate interview earlier today. There are also being talked back and forth between the White House and different people as far as Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Trump Machine. There's a lot of different people out there right now making statements. So let me tell you which actually happened. So yesterday, Nancy Pelosi sent out dear college leader of all the Democratic representatives once again pretty much retaliating, and we are fine and we are get through this, don't worry about it. Chuck Schumer also sent out a letter to all of the Democratic senators once again interrogating that he will be bringing the vote to the floor in the Senate, and he's going to be holding every single senator on record as far as their voting goes, just like what we saw of the Bernie Sanders yesterday. Remember the statement? So Bernie Sanders shortly after Trump Machine was out yesterday, he basically said, hey, let's hold a vote and let's hold him on the record in front of entire world as what the vote exactly is. So the Chuck Schumer had echoed has once again today that Bernie Sanders quote on yesterday, which he will be bringing that to the floor and holding a vote on it. And then we can see where this exactly goes. So again, this is kind of what we have been waiting for. So the vote was supposed to be held this week. So what are we waiting for, right? So we are supposed to have that done this week anyway. So not really sure why he's coming out with this breaking announcement saying he gonna bring it to the floor when that's what the plan anyway. So many, we should just do it right. So anyway, they have reiterated that and said they will be bringing it and voting on this anyway. And so Trump Machine has come out basically said he wants a few changes to this package in order to get his support. So here's what he wants to do. He wants to revisit this bill and actually change a few things about it, and then run it through the committees, and then the committees would actually kind of talk about a debate on this thing and figure out actually the best approach going forward on these things and actually get the necessary support on this package before actually bringing it to the floor and voting on it. So that's one of the requests is he wants to run it through the committees and see where this is stand after the next. He also wants to add a couple of provisions, whereas he wants to repeal and work back in 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. Now, this was something that was passed back in 2017, which offers some tax break for businesses and corporations, individual things like this, and he wants to roll some of that back. He also wants to negotiate in and have it a little bit easier for prescriptions to be priced out as far as negotiating on description pricings. So there's something else that's important and that he wants to in there as well. Now, when it comes to child tax credit payments, these are monthly checks that are going to out well, and the last check went out just a few days ago. But there's going to continue to go out through the end of 2022, as exactly introduced and exactly within the House version of the bill. Now, Joe Merchant is in the flavor of this. He wants this check to continue going out. He thinks that anybody earning over $200,000 shouldn't get in these checks. And again, I don't really like to come with my opinion. So that's a probably fair argument, right? People earning over $200,000, I mean, they really need monthly checks in amount of the 250 or 300 very single month. I mean, again, I'm not gonna throw up my opinion in there. We will have to see what exactly happened out of that. These are some of the changes that Joe Merchant wants out of the bill. So it's not a whole lot, but rather he wanted just change up a little bit. He also reiterated that his top line number is $1.75 trillion. So that is the top line that he has reiterated multiple times. He has been talking about for many months now, and once again they actually ran the price that way over that 1.75. So they are sitting more at like 2.2 trillion right now, in accordance with the House version of the bills. And so they were over there. He said he would actually support. So again, it's just like what we've been talking about before and now. We talked about this yesterday, and we talked about it again here for just a second. And that's it, just like every time. This is probably going to be done deal, and they will get it done. Just matter and how long is it really going to take. And so okay, fine. They have a little bit more opposition. But whatever you know what I mean, it's just part of the negotiation process, of course. We wanted this thing to get done a long time ago, and we wanted this whole thing to be wrapped up in the end of this week. But realistically, it might take a little bit longer than that, and that's what happens sometimes. I know it's unfortunate, but again, it's either we wait it out a little bit longer, or it doesn't get done, it's alright. As introduced by one of Democratic representatives who was talking about introducing a new COVID relief bill because of everything going on right now, which by the way is perfect to show right into talking about the president will be out tomorrow, addressing us on over these new restrictions. We don't really know, we have no clue what he is going to talk about, but tomorrow the president will be out addressing us on the COVID situation going into the winter. So have no clue, we are not really sure what he is going to talk about. There are some speculation and some different items out there, and that's it. Singh talked about a number of different times as far as what he could be talking about, but if you wanted to throw down some money on this, I could probably guarantee you what I know a few things he's going to talk about, right? Because he talks about it every time he comes out. So I know a few things for sure that will be mentioned, because there are just no point. But tomorrow we need to keep your eyes and your ears peeled to see what the president is going to be talking about in regard to these announcements. Maybe it will be interesting, and maybe it just will be the same old song and dance, and that we heard a million times. So now, every time that he talk about this stuff, so I'm not really sure. But we have to continue watching and see what the announcement actually is tomorrow. And of course, we will bring to you as we get that information. But it may be kind of interesting that a lot of weird stuff going on out there right now, especially with this message to spread COVID. I didn't look into that close to get those numbers. But anyway, when it comes to the stimulus package again, they're gonna get this thing done, they will ultimately get it done. And of course, what actually gets pretty much taken out of this package or adding into it, what does the final build back actually look like after it's run through the committees and after they actually debate this thing out, and still up in the air, nobody gonna know that until we actually get the final information on this build. But this is where we currently stand as right now. So it does look like John Machine is willing to come back in the table, which is no surprise once again. We kind of anticipated this, and we have to see where this actually goes.